Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Should I make it in the full screen, sir, or is it visible? Is it okay?
Arvind, if you can put it onto the PowerPoint show, that will be better.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. All good now?
Yes, yes, fine.
Sumit sir, the screen is already there. You can
Yeah, I can see that, but your volume, audio volume is a little less at your end. I don't know. Is it low at my end or your end? I don't know.
So it could be at my end.
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was actually a bit far from the laptop.
Okay, okay. And how about my voice? My
Yeah,
audio?
it's loud and clear, sir.
Good, good. Okay. So tell me when I have to come in. I am ready when you are.
Sir, you are already, you can take over from now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's already time.
Excellent. So a very good evening to all of you. It's a pleasure. There is no amount of thanks that I can give to Arvind and the others who are trying to organize these interactions. Being a professional, I'm always open to sharing of ideas. And my formula is that, in anything to do with education, learning, training, development, irrespective of what you are talking about, it is all about a two-way learning. So what I always say is that, in the case of money, if you have $1,000, you give me 500. So you are 500 less and I am 500 more. But when it comes to anything to do with the field of education, learning, development, training, whatever, it is not like that. If you have a good idea and you share it with me, you don't lose that idea. You can continue to use it and I can also use it. And then what happens is, when you have shared a good idea, there could be an idea on my side too. And when I share that, I don't lose it. I continue to use my idea as well as what I got from you. So before this exchange of ideas, we had a situation of one idea on this side, one idea on that side. But once we start interacting and sharing, then 1 plus 1 becomes 2 plus 2, which means 4. 1 plus 1 cannot be 4 in arithmetic or mathematics, but in learning and development, in education, it is always there. So you cannot teach without learning in the process. You cannot learn without teaching in the process. It's a wonderful, healthy exchange. That's the way I look at it. So that is why when Arvind requested, I was more than happy to be available for these kind of interactions. And I'm sure we will learn all the way together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We all are very grateful for your kind, support and efforts that you have actually, taken.
Not at all. You don't have to feel that way because I also stand to learn a lot. I'm sure as we go along, there would be questions, queries, discussions. So definitely we learn in that.
It is your greatness. It is your greatness.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that, but that is not really true. It is, what is true is that yes, exchange always helps, knowledge on both sides, skill on both sides, attitudes on both sides. So everyone is a gainer. Well, with those words,
Lot of gratitude to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And same here, by the way. Exchange. I'm also feeling very grateful that you all are here on a Sunday evening. Okay. So let's move on. And I will be sharing the slides also. So there's absolutely no problem. This is something I learned from my mentor, one of my mentors, I should say, Dr. M.B. Atreya, who also happens to be one of the early members of ISTD. He's a Padma Bhushan awardee. And I asked him, sir, you have so much of original work, but I don't see any copyright, patent, anything of that sort. You haven't written a book as yet. So his answer was simple. Sumit, keep on giving. Learning is for education. Learning, all this is for dissemination. So I loved it, and that is the way it is. So don't worry about the content. The content will be there. Please try to have a healthy interaction, understanding. That's more important. Now, in any MBA program as well as a diploma program like this, there is always a heterogeneous group of students. Some are experienced, some are not. Some come from science stream, some from commerce stream, some from humanities. So it's always a mix. So what I have planned to do is the first 5-10 slides are basics on organization and on human behavior before we come to the actual organization development and change management. That is the way I go about in my visiting faculty work also in various B schools where I teach this subject regularly. So that is the plan. So why I'm mentioning this is, those of you who are experienced or those of you who are senior HR professionals might feel that I'm talking something very basic. But then, we need to carry everybody along. So somebody, let's say, who has done an honors in physics and has joined in to this program must at least be aware of the basics of what an organization is, what is a human being, and what is human behavior before we can go on to OD and change management. So I hope that should help everybody. So Arvind, you can move on. If anybody is interested in my profile, they are all there in the slide. I don't think we need to spend time on that. But slowly you can move the slides. If somebody has a query or a question, I can always answer.
Sir, though I have already shared your profile on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Then of course, no need. Then there is no need. We can quickly go to the content slide straight away. That would be around slide 11 or 12. And this, in any case, they will have access to. This is my standard pattern. So I just keep it the same way in every presentation, in every class of size. Please go ahead. I think 10th or 11th slide is where it begins. One more, I think. Yeah, one more. So this is about the book that I normally recommend, a good book. One textbook and two on the next slide will get. One more. So this is the standard textbook which MBA students use. And then next, I have given 2 Indian authors for the Indian perspective. And then we move on with the content. Yeah, so obviously the first part has to be, what is this subject all about? So since this is session 1, I have put it as session 1, topic 1. Yeah. Arvind, kindly move on. So because we are talking of an organization, here it will be one by one, Arvind, just one click at a time. So because we are talking of organization, need to have a good idea about what is this organization all about. I'll also give you a formal definition of organization in the slides only, don't worry. But a working understanding, like you have working lunch, a working understanding of a business organization. When I say that every organization comes into existence to create a product, which could be in management jargon, everything is a product. An insurance policy is also a product, though it would fall under services. and goods is something which you can touch and feel, right? So goods and services tax you are all familiar with. So every organization is created to manufacture and sell some product or the other, including, mind you, the non-government organizations. If you take some of the famous ones like Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity, they don't have a profit motive, but they are in the service field. This organization wouldn't have been there if they were not providing. So there was an intention to provide services, and that is why they are there. And on the other side, when you have a car, you buy a car, a laptop, or whatever. So there are goods being manufactured by some company. That was the intent, right? So the central theme of any organization has to be a product, which could be either good or service, or both maybe. When you go to a hotel, you get a room to stay, which is a service, but you also get food to eat, which can be classified as good, can be touched, felt, etc. Yeah. Next, please, Arvind. But before you can create a product, you need some infrastructure. You need some material to be able to produce the product. So there is a raw material purchase function. For an educational institution,
काही काढलं नाही म्हणून
हा तर ठीक आहे ना इम्पॉर्टंट आहे का घरी जाऊन तेच कर ना मग
ते नाही आहे चालू लाईव्ह चालू आहे.
काय
Arey, please mute your phone.
काय बोलतो
Mute your computer.
आलं झालं की सांग ना. आता आपण काही घराच्या बाबतीत नाही बोलतो त्याच्यामुळे
करिए भैया. Please unmute.
Shweta, your mic is on. Shweta, your mic is on.
झालं की सांग.
Okay. So basically, I am trying to develop what is this organization business. So the central theme is a product. To produce a product, you need some activity before that, which is raw material purchase. And after the product has been made, you need to sell it also. What is the point in creating a product and keeping it in your warehouses? So these three are typically called the line functions of management. As I said in the beginning, those of you who are senior people in management, please excuse, because this is a mixed group. So I'll take the first 10-15 minutes to build the foundation. What is an organization, how it functions, and then come to OD&T. Yeah. So raw material to product to sales. These are typically called the line functions of management. They work in a straight line. Without materials, you can't produce. Without having a product, you can't sell. Right? So these are the line functions. Now, next question comes, after all, we have created an organization, and that too a business organization. So we need to check out, when we start with 100 rupees in our pocket, are we ending with more than 100 or less than 100? It's not a good idea after all this to land up with 80 rupees back in the pocket. So therefore, somebody has to keep track of the money. And that's where the next function comes in, which is, next please, Arvind. The accounts function. So that is the function which will keep track. How much did we spend on raw material purchase? How much went into the product being made? How much money was spent in selling the product? And at the end of it, do we have a ROI, return on investment? Today, as we go along, you will see that in HR also, which was always considered to be a qualitative function, we have to show ROI. If you are conducting a training program, how will it benefit in terms of rupees or dollars? Some kind of an estimate has to be given. And there are charts created for that. Right? So accounts keeps that track. So accounts is the function which can be called an advisory function or a support function or a supervisory function, because it looks into all the three activities that we have discussed so far and keeps the track of that. Now comes the question, and these are called the staff functions, accounts, and we will come next to the people management. accounts is a function which enters into all these three, but these functions don't come and check accounting. So that is why it's an advisory function, a supervisory function, a staff function, not a line function. The first three are line functions in a straight line. Next, please, Arvind. Now the question is, all these four functions, can you run without, or can you manage without people? Raw material cannot be, for example, if you need steel, so out of the steel factory or the Tata Steel factory, the steel does not walk out on its own and reach you. So there is some human being involved. From your company, it will be the purchase manager, and from the steel company, it will be the sales manager who will interact. And then only that raw material can be purchased. Similarly, you may have the latest machines or whatever, the CNC machines, NC machines, whatever. But somewhere somebody has to press a button to create the product that you want to create. So again, people are needed. Sales, your car, your laptop that you have manufactured does not walk out of your factory on its own and reach there. These dotted line I'll come to the last. So I'm explaining the people functions. So every single function needs people. And that is where the role of HR comes in, to see to it that no department or no division is not having the adequate number of the right kind of people. So that is the people management function, right? So this is the basic structure of every organization. Rest is a matter of size. In a small company, there may be 2 people in raw material purchase. In a company like Reliance, there could be 5,000 people working only in purchase. So that kind of is a matter of scale, right? Depending on the size of the activity. Okay, next, and this last part, why these dotted line and the reverse arrow coming in? In today's earlier, if you remove the dotted lines for a minute, what will happen? This was the earlier structure. But in today's day and age, the customer dictates what he wants. It's no longer "maine ye bana diya, aap khareed lo." That is not on. You can't just create anything and customer is going to buy it. No. So today, it is the sales marketing people through their specialized area of market research. They could do it in-house. They could go to an agency that does market research for them. That will tell what is the customer asking for, what are the expectations, and then a product has to be made according to those expectations. And therefore, the raw material purchase also has to be done according to those expectations. A Maruti car, for instance, is first designed, what kind of a steering it will have is designed, and then it is told to the vendor, you create a steering according to this. Not that whatever steering is available in the market we'll buy. What would be the specification of the wheels? As per the overall design of the car is first created, and then the tire making company, Goodyear or Michelin or Bridgestone or whoever, is given those specifications to create a tire that is needed for Maruti or Honda or any other car. I hope this part is clear, because gradually as we go into OD and change management, you have to hit every single function of what we are trying to understand. Any doubt on this? This is how an organization functions. This is very brief. Of course, I can go into a whole lot of detailing, but that is not the purpose here. Fine. Do we move on?
Yes, sir.
Great. So the next 2 slides you will find is exactly the same thing, just the terminologies are different. I don't have to explain anything. The next slide is about all these 5 functions starting with M. That is just a easy remembrance kind of thing. Yeah, Arvind, you can go ahead. Yeah, you can put in the whole of it. So raw material is materials, production becomes manufacturing, sales becomes marketing. Though of course, marketing is a much bigger area. Sales is now a sub-function of marketing, you can say. Finance and accounts becomes money, and manpower becomes HR. Next, please. So these are the normal nomenclature of these departments these days. Of course, with minor variations here and there. So, and every function, mind you, has become much, much more complicated than the early stages. So materials today, as I just now mentioned, it's not about buying what is available in the market. They have to understand the specifications, go out to the tire manufacturer or out to the steering manufacturer and give the specifications that please create according to this. So there's a lot of vendor development involved. It's not direct purchase from the market kind of. Right? Similarly, every function has become complicated. Accounts, for instance, today even the biggest of players do not have all the money to invest in a big project. So there are ways of raising funds, whether they are loans or debentures or shares or whatever. And so the finance function has become very important. And what will you keep accounts for if you don't have money in the first place? So the more money you gather, the more accounting also happens. So that is how every function has become complicated. Marketing, for instance, it was purely sales earlier. Now it is market research, sales promotion, actual sales, branding, promotion I've already said. So it's a complex mix of things. So as organizations have become bigger, as more and more competition has emerged in the market, there is complexity involved in every function. HRM, of course, is also as complicated as anything else. I would say the most complicated, right? But I am a strong believer. I have spent 40 years in HR, that once you can master HR, of course, no one can, mind you, I'm not saying that you can. There's always more to learn. You can manage all the functions. In fact, the definition of management is from the very word management you can derive. Manage, put a hyphen, men, put a hyphen, and T remains, T is tactful. If you can manage men tactfully, you can manage anything and everything. That is management. Okay, right. So now we move on. Next, please. And wherever there's a doubt, kindly unmute and ask, or you can send a chat to Arvind, whatever. Okay. So now we are coming to more of people, because we will be dealing in this subject with people all the time. People are people, irrespective of whether they are a part of the marketing department, the finance department, the HR department, the manufacturing or materials. Doesn't matter. People are people. It can be a hospital, or it can be a business organization, a manufacturing setup. People will remain people. So first thing we have to understand, and this is very, very important for OD. You have to understand that no two people are same. Any manager who tries a formula approach to handle people will not get much success. Now that does not mean, don't misquote me please, I am not saying that you can't have broad rules. You will have broad rules in every organization. You will have broad policies. It is not as if A is my favorite, so I will give him 20 days leave in the year, and B is not my favorite, so I'll give him 2 days leave in the year. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying within the broad rules and parameters which you have to follow in any organization, so long as you are a part of it, there has to be that subtle difference in dealing with different people. No two people can be the same. The same remark made in the same tone creates different perceptions in different minds. So you have to know about this. And over a period of time, if you observe human behavior carefully, you will know as to what will be interpreted as what by whom. Generally, you will be right if you have put in the right end. So the first thing to recognize is individual differences. Right? And for me, the biggest human resource and organizational behavior manual is the Mahabharata. Right? Because you have all kinds of characters. The greatest of sadhus are there, the greatest of crooks are there, And here is Lord Krishna managing all of them, and no religion involved. Please keep religion and God out of it. Take Mahabharata as a war story and whatever happened around it. And you will see, and you will get lots of ideas as to how to handle different people different. As we go along, we will see. But for the moment, just think of two characters. Does Krishna handle Arjun the way he handles a Bhishma, or even his own brother Yudhishthir, or Bhim? Can you tackle them the same way? No. Each time Krishna has an interaction with any of the characters of Mahabharata, you find a different layer in him. When he is talking to the intellectuals, like Vidur or Bhishma or somebody, he is at a different level. And when he is talking to these bullheads, like Bhim and Duryodhan or his own brother Balram, he is talking in a different tone. That is what is the ability that a HR person has to have. You must quickly be able to assess who are you talking to, what is the level of that person, mental level I mean, in terms of understanding or not understanding, knowledge or not having knowledge. And you have to either go down to that level or you have to go up to the level of a real intellectual that you are interacting with. And that way you get an ideal role model in case. So you are not important when you are dealing with others. How you deal with them is the differentiator. So the moment you realize that each person coming in front of you is a different person, you will create different formulae for handling them and not use a single formula. Individual difference, very, very important, because all the time in OD and change management, you have to deal with human mindset and you have to change management. For instance, you are using the word change. So if you don't understand them, how on earth are you going to change? And I'm only making you conscious of something which you probably do anyway. When we are with a 2-year-old kid, howsoever great a scientist one may be, but we talk at the child's level. So that is what I'm trying to say, that just because two people are equal in age does not mean their mental levels are the same, does not mean their interests are the same. Over emotional people sometimes are unable to assess this thing. And they will keep on harping about what they are interested in. And that is what becomes boring for the other person. So you have to understand his or her interest and accordingly talk to that person. Right? So that is what I mean when I say, please appreciate individual differences. You don't have a choice. People are going to be different. So you have to handle differently. That is the message. Next, please. Whole person. Again, everybody is a package. Okay, 100% right person and 100% wrong person, very difficult to point. So you have to treat people as, oh, thanks, Ketan. Oh, that's nice to know that boosts my energy. Like Kapil Dev used to say, boost is the secret of my energy. Okay, so thank you so much. So this whole person business is about understanding the strengths and limitations of every person. Okay. So supposing, just as an example, I say, I am selecting a team. Mark my words carefully, I am selecting a team. Virat Kohli is available to play. Does it mean I will take him? I am saying I am selecting a team. Virat Kohli is available to play. Am I going to take him or no?
Sir, depends if it is a cricket team.
Exactly. That is what you have to understand. That somebody may be great in something. If I am selecting a cricket team, yes. But I just said team. It could be a hockey team, football team, or better still, the boxing or the wrestling team. So the same Virat Kohli, who is extremely capable and extremely committed for a sport, is completely useless for another sport. You have to understand. And please get away from this habit of later on blaming juniors when they are unable to perform because you never checked whether that person has the ability to perform or not. So as a person who is senior, who is assigning roles to people, you have to be first sure that the person that you are assigning a work to does have the capability of doing it. If somebody is got 100% marks in class 2, are you going to put that person straight away in standard 12, where this person will be completely out of place? So as a senior, you have to understand the person as a whole. Understand that every person will have some shortcomings. You have selected a person knowing fully well that he is good in XYZ, but not so good in this. But then, as a boss again, or as a senior, boss word is going out of fashion nowadays. So as a senior, you cannot just say, oh, he has these limitations, so he can't do it. You have to put in the effort to see if that person can acquire those competencies that would be useful for the organization. So you can't give up very easily. You have to motivate the person to learn an additional skill, acquire additional knowledge, etc. We'll come to that, what all can be learned a little later. So the whole person is like, for example, again going back to Mahabharata, why did Draupadi have 5 husbands? She caught hold of Krishna one day and asked, what is this business? Why have you given me this trouble? And what does Krishna answer? That now that you have asked, I have not done anything wrong, but I'll tell you. So what does he tell Draupadi? You were in the last janam, last birth, you were a great Shiv Bhakt, right? So again, please take it only as stories, nothing religious, nothing. Please don't link it up. It is just a story to learn something. So what does he say? That you were so much devoted to worshipping Shivji that he was very impressed. So he came down on earth and asked, I'm just creating some little extra bits to make it wholesome. And he asked you, what do you want? You have been, for me. So you saw this is a fantastic opportunity. Boss himself is asking, what do you want? So you became greedy and you told him, give me a very good husband next birth. So Shivji is Bholenathji, he's a simple man, right? Unfortunately, this is a story before 1972, because 1972 Wildlife Protection Act had come in. So, there would be questions asked, Shivji, how did you get this tiger skin and whatnot? So he's safe, otherwise he would have been, put to trouble. So what does she say? What does he say? I have no clue what is this good, bad husband. Tell me the qualities you want. And then you wrote out some 5 qualities and got it signed by him. Now, Shivji went back to his Kailash Parvat. And in this birth, I have the responsibility of finding a husband for you. So then what do? I went around the world looking for someone who fits into that description with all those 5 qualities. I couldn't get any. But since it is Shivji's Vardhan, and Shivratri is, by the way, coming in a few days, so I had no other option. These 5 brothers combined have all the qualities. Now, this is the story. But what am I trying to derive out of it? Come back to the corporate world. That if you are expecting one person to have all the qualities that you are looking for, it is your mistake, not the people's mistake. So, a person will come with the good and bad qualities. You have to get the best out of the good qualities, and you have to also motivate and inspire the person to get over some of the qualities which are not so desirable by the organization. And in the process, you also have to explain, and this is equally applicable to OD and change management. Don't expect people to accept what you say till such time you are able to show them what they gain out of it. There is no one-way traffic. If you go back and read your basic economics, Adam Smith, grand old man, 250 years ago, said a brilliant thing. He said, when an entrepreneur sets up his business, he is setting it up for his own selfish interest. Let's be very clear. The employee who goes to work for him or her goes there to satisfy his or her own needs because the salary that is this person gets satisfies many of the needs that this person has. Third, the customer or the consumer who buys your product buys it because it satisfies some of his or her needs. So please understand all these three categories of people: the employer, the employee, and the customer. They are all in the game for their selfish interests. Unless all these three selfish interests are satisfied, you cannot attain an equilibrium. So the beauty of it is, and this is called the invisible hands theory of Adam Smith, where he has said this, that please take care of all the three selfish interests. And the beauty of this concept is, when three selfish interests come together, all the three people are benefiting. That should be the logic rather than a one-way traffic, which will never last. So it has a give and take. So when you ask the person to change his or her style of working for organization development, you are managing change, but you have to also convince the person that this is how he or she benefits. That is the crux. Okay. Okay. Right, Arvind? Next point. Another important aspect, which is a combination individual differences and whole person. It is called the caused behavior. I had thought I will put those terms here also, but I forgot. So my apologies, but you please jot down two terminologies which relate to this third point. One is a terminology typically used by psychologists. That is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Which means prophecy is a prediction. Most of you would have definitely heard about Nostradamus, who could predict lots of things and all, even to the extent that people say he predicted the 9/11 also, 400 years back or something. So self-fulfilling prophecy is, if you have seen the film My Fair Lady or read the book, it is an example of self-fulfilling prophecy. A Hindi version was also made by Devanand, I think, taking Keena Munia. It was called Manpasand or something. So, what is the story in My Fair Lady? There is this little flower girl, and she sells flowers. And obviously, she is not a very educated and all that. But there is, her name is Eliza Doolittle, and there is Professor Higgins. So Professor Higgins somehow takes a liking for this girl and believes that this girl can be converted into a very educated, nice lady with finesse and panache. So he takes it upon himself to work on this lady, right? The lady gets frustrated because she says, I am a flower girl, I cannot sing, I cannot do all this, I don't know where from we have got these funny ideas, that kind of a thing. So there's a lot of initially a lot of fights, differences, but ultimately this happens. So this girl is converted into a very highly sophisticated, educated lady because of the efforts on both sides, of course, but initiated by Professor Higgins. So he made a prophecy that this girl can be converted into something which you can't see at all as of now. He took it upon himself to work hard on it, and he was able to do that. So that in psychology is called self-fulfilling prophecy. The same thing in a way, and now we are coming to management, is called Pygmalion effect. P-Y-G, not P-I-G, P-Y-G, Malion. Pygma, lion. That is the spelling. P-Y-G-M-A-L-I-O-N. Pygmalion effect. So this came from a Harvard Business Review article. Yes, Bernard Shaw, yes. That was the character. Pygmalion was a sculptor. That is where it came from. You're right. So the point is that what is this business of Pygmalion effect, which was written about in a Harvard Business Review article in the 50s. and it has become prominent, and it will link up the first 2 points. So what does it tell a manager? That when you have a junior with you, if you have high hopes from that junior, and if you work on that person effectively, then you will be able to transform that person. And OD and change management is all about transformation. You will be able to transform that person into a more competent person as far as the organization goes, even maybe personally, right? If you teach me a language, I can use that for my official work, but I can also use it for my personal work. So Pygmalion effect tells that because every person may have some shortcomings and some good points, work on the limitations, and you will be able to, over a period of time, if you put in the hard yards, you will be able to convert that person into a much more useful person for the organization, for himself also, or herself. As I said, it has to be a two-way process. So why this term Pygmalion? This is where the story of Bernard Shaw comes in, which is the article was actually called Pygmalion in Management, because the Pygmalion was the name of a sculptor, ancient Greek sculptor, who was, being a sculptor, he was creating beautiful statues all the time. So once he created the statue of a very beautiful woman, and then he fell in love with that statue, and then he wants the impossible to happen. He wants that statue to come to life, and she should become a living lady, and then he wants to marry her and all of that. Now that is an impossible thing. So what does he do? He keeps on pestering God. Please do, please give life to this statue. Please give life. He won't give up. And as these mythological stories go, usually, so life is given to that statue. So she becomes a live lady, and as they say, and they lived happily ever after. So that kind of thing. One of my friends says, "What is this happily married business here? You can either be happy or married. How can you be both?" So that's another matter. But this is the story. So the idea is that something impossible can happen, provided you are willing to work towards, right? So you can't give up on a person that, when we selected him, we knew he is good in sales, but he is bad in this. No, on that bad part, you have to work. And you have to encourage the person to come up in that competence also, right? So that is, and why do we have to always quote these stories? We have our own version of Savitri Satyavan. Savitri also got Satyavan back, right? Which is kind of impossible. So we have enough examples, and these are all stories, mythological stories. You just take the message. Unfortunately, we become just ritualistic. Instead of taking the message, we just carry out the ritual. I have had wonderful experiences on that. I would say negative also. Ram Navami ka vrat rakha hua hai. He's on a fast on a Ram Navami. I am sitting in front of him and he's telling lies on the phone. I don't know how Ramchandraji would take that. I mean, that is the level of stupidity that we have in terms of just following the rituals. Okay. So cause behavior is clear. So you can, basic idea is, even if it appears that this person is not capable of this, if we work consistently with patience, we will be able to get the kind of behavior we are expecting or want. Okay, next please, Arvind. Desire for involvement. So there is a characteristic in all of us that anything that matters to us, and if any decision is taken regarding that, we will like to be involved in the decision-making process. Again, very important, because the entire process of OD, when we will come to that, will show you that it is a very collaborative process. You have to involve the people, not only in implementing the decision, but in deciding on what to do. Those are the processes that we'll come to. when we come to that stage. So involvement, desire for involvement. A simple example would be, if I am, for example, this kind of a situation in a B school or in a school or college or anywhere. So the professor comes in and says that, next class, there's a lot of syllabus to be covered and all. I'll take the next class at 6 in the morning. Obviously, there will be a lot of resistance. And, the ones who are more vocal will stand up. Hey, listen, yeah, this man has gone mad or this lady has gone mad. And, we are not going to follow. Who will come? How will we reach, etc. But imagine if the same professor would have said in the class that, you see, a lot of syllabus needs to be covered. Your exams are on the card. Unfortunately, I have to catch a flight at 9. So that is the only time available that I can. I know it will be difficult for you, but please bear with me one day. And then what do you think? Will the resistance be as high? So when you involve people in decision making, and this is the secret of Japanese success, collaborative management, consensus decision making. OD is all about creating consensus. We will come to the force field analysis. Unless you have a lot of people supporting you, you don't get into it. And politicians are great at that, creating coalition. Right? So desire for involvement is an inherent human trait, that anything that is important for me, I must be involved in the decision making regarding it. You can't just order me to do something because it affects my life. That is the whole essence of desire for involvement. And the last characteristic you have to keep in mind, next please, Arvind, human dignity. Very, very important aspect. And this is something which applies 100% to 100% of human beings. Whether it is a child, a beggar, a king, president, prime minister, nothing matters. Everyone has a sense of dignity. No one anywhere in the world will stand up and say, I like to be abused. So you have to respect that. And it typically happens with youngsters, They may be MBAs and they may have joined at a salary of 1 lakh or 2 lakhs or whatever, where there is a peon who is drawing maybe 20,000-30,000 rupees and has worked for more years than this youngster's age. So how do you deal with such a person? Obviously, everybody in the organization knows level-wise you are much higher. But if you treat that person with dignity, 95%, 98% chances are that person will also show respect towards you. But if you try to show your position and try to order around, then that person will not be as committed. That is what we need to understand. So, of course, you have to test out a person. It is not a one-way process, as I said. So, if you find that your humbleness is being treated as a sign of weakness, then of course you have to also, over a period of time, as the saying goes, give a long rope to hang, give a few chances to commit mistakes, not care about you, but someday you have to confront and politely tell him that this is what you have been doing. So you please tell me, what do you want? And again, back to Mahabharata, Krishna could manage everybody, but there is one character, in spite of 100 times telling him that you improve, did not. So he had to use one of those rare occasions when Krishna used a weapon, that Sudarshan Chakra had to be used on Shishupal. So there would be one odd Shishupal somewhere. But because of that, do not mistrust 99%. You should not have blind trust on anybody. You must keep on checking out. But you must give a sense of dignity, at least to begin. If somebody proves unworthy of that, then you have to start tightening the rope, or tightening the noose, as they say. Right? So these 5 things have to be kept at the back of your mind. For anything you do in HR, OD, change management, these are all offshoots of HR. Right? Okay. Next, please, Arvind, unless there is a query, question or something. Yeah. Next. So in this world, you will face 2 extreme varieties of people. People who live in the positive cycle. These are people with high confidence, high self-esteem. They have high self-confidence. They respect and regard others also. They are having positive thoughts. follow the arrows. Because they have positive thoughts, they indulge in desirable behavior. Because they indulge in desirable behavior, they succeed in a lot of things that they do. And that creates more positive thoughts, that creates more confidence. So these are people who respect themselves and respect others. So that's a positive cycle you are in. But exactly opposite of this, you also meet people at the other end. Next, please, Arvind. People in the negative cycle. So these are people with low self-esteem. मैंने तो पहले ही कहा था नहीं होगा, ऐसे ही बेकार में, यहाँ कुछ नहीं हुआ, इतने सालों में कुछ नहीं हुआ, अब क्या होगा? You know, that kind of people you meet. Definitely there are a lot. So they will always have negative thoughts. Because of negative thoughts, they will indulge in undesirable behavior. They will not be able to achieve anything. And then they will further add blame and become more negative. See, I had told you it will not happen. If you don't put in the effort, how will it happen? You can't sit at home and say that I will conquer the Everest. You have to take those steps. And yes, there would be failures on the way. But you have to retry. You have to overcome those failures. So that is why am I telling you these two extremes? Of course, most of the people will fall somewhere in between. There is no black and white, as I said. Everybody is a shade of gray. And I'm not talking of 50 shades of gray. I'm talking of 100 shades of gray. So the point is that you have to, as an HR person, as an OD person, you have to manage with what you have. Jack Welch has very clearly said, whatever you have, you have. Don't think the world is going to be as it was or as you wish it were. Right? Unfortunately, he also passed away, I think, 1st of March this year. A great leader. So someday we'll talk about that also when we come to it. Okay, next please, Arvind. Yeah, next. So these are basics of organizational psychology and behavior. So just go through it. And this forms the basis of OD. Application of knowledge about how people as individuals and as groups. This is very important. The same person as an individual may behave completely different as compared to when they are in a group. The same union leaders, when I was heading the HRD of Escorts, we had a union which had 17,000 members, one single union. Today, Escorts is a kid in front of that Escorts because all the divisions, major divisions have been sold. Only tractor remains, majorly. So these union, we were 22,000 overall people. So the same union leaders, yes, Viru, I do agree. It applies to personal life, absolutely. Absolutely. So the same union leader who would come to my room, have tea with me or have soft drinks with me, and before going to abuse me outside, he will also say sorry. Sorry, Chaudhary Sahab, aaj aapki bari. Which means we will be abusing you there for whatever grievances there. So I have to understand that they are playing a role there. There is no personal enemy. What you hear of Maruti, it happened to my room also. They put it on fire, they snatched away files, they went away everything, but they never touched me. That personal regard was very much there. I regarded them, they regarded me. But on the professional front, yes, they have lots of demands which we as management cannot fulfill. So that's a separate issue. We negotiate, hard bargaining, everything will happen. Right? So as a management team member and as a union member, he has every right to show his power, his might, and not that I have to agree to everything. But personal regard and respect is a different, right? So why do we have to understand people as individuals and groups? Because as a group, they may behave completely different. Two close friends, let's say engineers from the same college, they join an organization. One is in production, the other is in sales. Both are staying together in a as two friends in a house on rent. But when it comes to a fight between sales and production, which often happens in organizations, do you think they will act as friends there? The guy who is in sales will be on his team and the guy who is in production will support this. If Bumrah has caught clean bowled Virat Kohli in a local, Delhi versus Mumbai match or something, are you saying that, in a test match with a foreign country, Kohli says, see, you since you bowled me out on the first ball, I'm not going to hold this catch. So that is what we have to understand. That our individual fights are different. When we are a part of a team, we have to always look at the interest of the team. Yeah, next please. And Arvind, do let me know if koi chat mein question aata hai, anything comes, you can ask.
Okay, sir. I will let you know.
Yeah. So this is the essence of all organizational psychology and behavior. Strive to identify ways in which people can act more effectively. That will remain for OD and change management also. Right? The more effectively people act, bring in more changes and at a faster rate. Yeah. And please read up on what Peter Drucker has said about effectiveness and efficiency. Fundamentally, he described these two things. Effectiveness is about the right direction. Which direction you want to move is effectiveness. Once you have chosen a direction, then you should be efficient on it. That means do it properly. So simply said, effectiveness means do the right things. Effectiveness means do things rightly. That is the difference. And then my formula, which I preach with my clients, is if you have effectiveness plus efficiency, excellent. That is the formula in my consulting assignments I use. Okay, next please, Arvind. Yes, Rakesh, you are right. But the point is, even before aligning an organization's resources, you have to be sure that you are in the right direction. So that is very, very important. So the sense of direction has to be right. Otherwise, that famous quote from Alice in Wonderland, if you do not know where you want to go, any road will lead you there. You may have some 5 helicopters waiting. Absolutely. Direction and goal orientation is very important. Then only your resources will give you results. You have to first know whether you want to go to Chennai or Mumbai. If you are in Delhi, your first decision has to be that. Then only the resources can help. So what is your direction? That's simple. And then the rest of it follows. And when you have decided the sense of direction, then you should be efficient. You should drive the car well. But car in which direction? You are driving very well, perfectly fine. But are you going towards your direction, goal, as you rightly said? Or are you going away from the goal? Yeah. Absolutely. Common direction is for the company, and individual goal has to be aligned with that. Absolutely right, Rakesh. Great. So that is why you see, right in the beginning, I said, I have a lot to learn from everybody. Every session we have some exchange of ideas. Okay. So now we come to what is an organization. We are talking of organization development, but what is an organization? So organization is a collection of people with a common purpose. Very, very simple definition. Family is an organization for that matter, at the personal level, right? So people have come together for a common purpose. They help each other and etc. All that comes. So same way, organization is a unique living organism whose basic component is the individual human. Because beyond the individual human, like those of you who remember your basic biology, we all are composed of cells. Cell is the smallest unit of life. Now, if you further dissect a cell, life does not remain. Then it is all chemical. So same way, you cannot cut a human being further into pieces and say that these are the pieces of the organization. One unit of an organization is one human. And that individual has to be studied individually and as a collective group. Then only you will succeed in OD and change. Yes, Coexistence is absolutely important. Okay, no question. Otherwise, none of us can survive. Co is the right word. Coexistence. Existence can't be there without co. Wonderful. Okay, next please. Now, so all the time we see cooperation, but all the time we see conflict also. It is human nature that cooperation will be there, but you can't say that conflict will not be. Both will be. So when conflicts happen, when cooperation is happening, that is why it is said, no, success has many fathers, but failure has none. So the moment there is failure of a team or something, then everybody starts blaming the other. Till the time success was happening, everything was hunky-dory, everything was fine. So whenever conflict happens, even a car accident, let's say a car accident that happened either because of a technical failure, the brake failed or something, though in modern cars that rarely ever happens. It's mostly a human error. Now, when an accident happens between these two machines, the two drivers are in conflict. And they are always blaming each other without going to the root of the problem. Right? So in these kind of things, the technology of the car may be, but the conflict between the drivers cannot be handled by technical skills. You need social skills. So that is what is needed in OD and change. Because ultimately, even the choice of technology, please understand, is made by a human being somewhere. Who creates technology? Who chooses which technology to buy or not to buy? Who chooses how to use that technology? How to operate the machine? All this happens through human intervention. And that is why your focus has to be the change of mindset. Unless you are able to change mindset, and that is where I say our forefathers are absolutely brilliant. You know? I would like to use the word ancestors because forefathers has a gender connotation. I always try to use neutral words. So if they gave us a concept of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh 5,000, 10,000 years back, when the other parts of the world had no civilization to talk about, they have already explained change management. Everything in this goddamn world is created one day. That includes the material things as well as all of us. Everything is maintained for a while. That's Vishnu. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer. And pardon my saying it, all of us have to go one day. So that is the creative destruction of Mahesh or Shiva. So life goes on, buildings will come up, they will be dynamited or whatever, and then it will, again a new building will come up, etc. So that is Shrishti. So as a friend of, very dear friend of mine, Rajiv Khurana says, you cannot change Shrishti, so please change your Drishti. Within these fundamentals of life, we have to look for meaning, right? So when you talk of change, when you talk of development, and development can't happen without change minding. That would be my first premise when we come to the real key issues in OD and change. So conflicts have to be handled. Whenever you want to bring in a change, there will be some people who will be with you, very happy about it, and there will be some who will resist. And that is why Kurt Lewin's beautiful concept of force field analysis. I don't want to complicate things right now, but it is important to know this. In any OD intervention, in fact, any small change also, a sensible manager will always calculate whether forces supporting me are more or they are less. And he or she, however great the idea may be, a sensible manager never implements things without ensuring that the support base is more. The facilitating forces are more, the restraining forces are less. Only then it will go through. And that's what politicians are great at. Why do you think they are so good in, creating coalitions? And this is election time in 5 states. So therefore, you are seeing all kinds of activities happen. So coalition, build up coalitions, right? Yes, overcoming resistance is surely education plus communication. Plus, I will say that education for me would also include showing them how it will benefit them. That is very, very important. Right? Okay. Next, please. And Arvind, tell me when you are have had enough and we have to stop. I have extremely high energy levels. I have no problem. I can go on for the night. No issue at all. Yeah. We
Sir,
haven't even reached ODM change management as yet.
Sir, we still have 20 more minutes.
Okay.
It is
As
1
the
hour.
boss orders. so I get too involved with this. So you have to keep track of all that. Okay, next please. So for me, the way I look at it, the only way forward as far as human behavior is concerned is to focus on three things: attitude, skill, and knowledge. Any success story, if you look at, irrespective of the field of success, these are working together. First level, it is of the field. Second level, the ability to convert that knowledge into a skill. Now, the simple example I can give, many of us would have played school and college cricket. We have enough knowledge of cricket, but why couldn't we become a Virat Kohli or a Dhoni or a Bumrah? Because in spite of the knowledge, we were not able to get to the level of skill that is required. So we have to be very good judges of this for ourselves and for others. You can't just beat up a donkey and create a horse out of it. That's what you have to understand. And again, our ancestors have given us Gade Ghoda Sambarabar. It's not going to work. So knowledge is perfectly fine. You have to have knowledge of the field you are in. Then to get success, you also need skills to use that knowledge appropriately. It comes out of practice. I cannot read up 100 books on swimming and say that I have become a great swimmer. Unfortunately, with Google Uncle there, a lot of people are like that. They have read up everything about all series and they will keep on arguing with the best surgeon in town on that. Now, please avoid it. And when it comes to the actual surgery, they will not go to a person who is internet expert on surgery, who has read everything on surgery on the net only. But one would rather go to a doctor who has conducted 3,000 such operations. So that is what we have to understand. Skill is something different from knowledge. And then comes the attitude. Everyone will face failure sometime or the other. Now, what do you do with the failure? Failure by itself is not a problem. What do you do with the failure is? This series, you know what Virat Kohli did? Nothing, virtually. And I'm reminded of the 2014 series. Pardon me for talking cricket, but I do that because most people have some knowledge of cricket, irrespective of the audience. 2014, he scored a royal 134 in 5 test matches, 10 innings, 13.4 was his average. So do you give up on him? Does he give up playing cricket? And Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan has a flop film. So do they give up acting? By the way, Amitabh Bachchan is my senior from my college, graduation college, and Shah Rukh Khan is from the competitor college. KM and Hansraj are side by side in a way, in the Delhi University North campus, right? Law of average, not necessarily so, I would say. Yes, law of average does work, but what is the kind of effort you have put in will make collective representation of failure in a long career. Yes, things tend to even out, but I would give a lot of credit to people who have put in more effort and therefore they succeeded more. So there is a saying, no, that you are helped when you help yourself. So the point is that some people give up very easily. One failure, two failures, and they give up. And time permitting, I would have given you lots of examples. Look at the kind of failures Abraham Lincoln had. Or Mahatma Gandhi failed twice to become an advocate in Rajkot and in Mumbai, way back in 1891, 92, and 1901, 1902. But if he had succeeded in becoming an advocate, he would have been a Ram Jethmalani or a Harish Salve or somebody like that. He wouldn't be the Mahatma that he is. No. So failures will be there. What do you do with failure is the thing. Just to give you another example, we are in the corporate world. In one of the prominent IITs, I was doing campus recruitment for escorts. And this is the worst answer. I will not mention the name of the IIT and I will not mention the student also because I am trying to drive home a point. So this person, when we asked him a question, the answer he gave was, we have not been taught this. Now, if you think we rejected him for not knowing the subject, it is absolutely wrong. That was not the issue. You can ask me a crore questions which I'll have no answer to. The question is, what did we read in his future as an executive in our company? A person who is saying, we have not been taught this, tomorrow will come up with, my boss didn't tell me that, my junior didn't tell me that, my colleague didn't tell me that. Where is the positive? I would have immediately taken him if his answer would have been, I am sorry, I cannot recall, but if you give me half an hour, I'll come back with the answer. We need those kind of positive attitude people. I'm trying to explain an attitude. Right? So, Balaji, I didn't understand. What is this impact and
Sir, I was actually trying to say that it is not the impact that the answer is going to create, but it is the intention of the candidate that he has gone wrong there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So basically, that's what I'm saying. If only he had said that I don't know, no problem. But please give me a chance. Please give me half an hour. I'll come back with the answer. So then we are projecting into the future that when faced with a problem, he will do his homework. He will run around and find out something and try to solve the problem. And that's the characteristic I'm looking at. So attitude is very, very important. Even if you don't have the knowledge, even if you don't have the skill, if you are resourceful enough, your attitude is to have a lot of knowledge about where can I get the answer from. And those of you who are absolute youngsters starting off in careers, yes, Google Uncle is a good source, but it is accurate only to what 80%. So for something very important to you, please check with 3-4 sources. And in this age of fake news and whatnot, please be careful. Whatever comes to your table need not be accepted blindly. And let me give you an example of that. A couple of months, maybe a year back or so, I receive a WhatsApp message where I find a picture of two of the greatest sons of India, right, ever born, sitting and discussing something. Two gentlemen in their young age, right? And who are they? One is Swami Vivekananda, and the other person is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, it immediately struck me that Swami Vivekananda passed away in 1902, and Netaji was born in 1897. So when Swamiji passed away, Netaji was only 5 years old. So there is no chance at all that they were young people or sitting on a table and discussing. So somebody has created a fake news and it is going round. So please put a stop to this. So attitude is very, very important. You must have that questioning ability. I'm not saying become rude, but don't believe everything that comes to you, not even from me. You have to have that personality, develop knowledge, develop skill, and have the right answer. So that converts to, in the next screen, which is what you will have to focus on in Moody and change management.
Sir, that means knowledge is skill, attitude is first. Knowledge and skill comes thereafter, right?
Absolutely. That is what I am showing in the next picture. You have you have gone ahead. You have gone ahead and said the right thing. See,
Thank you,
attitude
sir.
is the
Thank you,
base.
sir.
Attitude is the
Yeah.
base. Right? Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes. Oh, thanks a lot
We are,
for
we are
saying
enjoying
that
every
even
moment, sir.
before I did.
We are enjoying every moment, sir.
Right. So now forget the three, what is written outside the triangle. What is written inside the triangle, first focus on that. So we are talking about the amount of success an individual has got or the organization has got. This triangle can be of anybody, you and I, or it could be of the organization. So this is the amount of success we already have. For example, we have all done our schooling. We have all done our graduation. Many of us have done our post-graduation. I have done my law also, MBA also, and masters in social work also, this, that, and the other. So all that is behind me. I have worked for so many years. That is also there. All this adds to my current success. That is inside the triangle. Now comes the question, and this is true of organizations. Every organization, whatever it is, that is, it has achieved, put it inside the triangle. Now comes the question, do you want more success? Why are you even thinking of OD and change management? Why do you need to change? Why do you want to develop? Fundamental question is, we want more success. Fundamental answer, that is, we want more success. That is why we are doing all this. Why are you here between 7 and 8:30 or 9, whatever, listening to me? There are 1,529 other interesting things happening all over the place. You think that probably this will help me in some way, whatever, right? Everybody has that I want more success. So the first, whatever success I have achieved is because I have some knowledge, because I have some skills, and because I have somewhat of positive attitude. Now the answer, as I said, everybody gives is I want more success, barring rare exceptions. And now more success, what do you think? The size of the triangle has to be what? Bigger this, smaller than this, or equal to this? If more amount of success has to be represented geometrically, what do? The triangle size will be what? Bigger than this, smaller than this, or equal to this?
Bigger. Bigger, sir.
Equal to
Bigger.
this.
Obviously, bigger, absolutely.
Yes.
And therefore, the only way to increase the size of a triangle is by increasing the size. That means for bigger success, we have to have more knowledge, more skills, and more positive attitude. That is how it will move. So this is what also explains, as you will see in the subsequent slide. Next, please, Arvind. Supposing we focus only on one of these and do not focus on the other. So what will happen? You will have a situation like this. I may have extreme positive attitude, keep on having positive attitude, but I don't focus on knowledge, I don't focus on skills. Is the size of the triangle increasing? You just said that we need a bigger triangle. More success means bigger triangle. So only focusing on attitude will not work. Next time I meet you, if I have not any extra knowledge to give, you will get bored of me. I may have absolutely positive attitude. How does that? Similarly, this is high on attitude. Next, please, and attitude in the positive sense, not in the negative sense that we use in our day-to-day language. We are talking of positive. Lot of skill. Let's say communication skill. To keep on improving your presentation and communication skills, which incidentally is again a paper you have. So that's fine. But after the third or the fourth presentation, if you have not focused on your knowledge, what extra will you bring to the table? And why would anybody listen to you if you keep on talking the same thing? So again, the size of the triangle is not increased. Exactly, Ketan. All the three are equally important. That's exactly what I'm trying to drive. If you have to have a bigger success, it has to be a bigger triangle where all the three sides have to be big. Right, Rakesh? Thank you. So, knowledge, skills, and attitude, you have to focus on all. Next, please. Yeah. So, same thing about knowledge. Now, this typically represents this whole game of having a PhD, not having a PhD, and I am sick and tired, and all industry people are sick and tired of this too much of focus on PhD rather than industry experience in practical areas like management and engineering. Somebody who has not had any exposure to industry, and particularly in HR, what happens? Somebody is a doctorate in psychology, perfectly fine, becomes a faculty in HR, perfectly fine, I have no problem. But that person is given a paper on industrial relations to teach, because that is one of the papers in HR. Now, this person has no clue about what law is. This person has no clue about what a trade union is, has never faced a trade union leader, has never seen Gali Galoch happening. So what do you expect? How is that person going to teach? So the pure academicians will only teach 1, 2, 3, 4, Kotler 1, 2, 3, 4, or this book 1, 2, 3, 4. So that practical knowledge, which comes out of practicing and developing your skills in that area. Go back to that doctor. 3,000 operations this doctor has done. The other guy has only read on the internet. Who is fitter to carry out the surgery? And this is what explains, I am so well qualified, but people do not give me promotions and it is given to the others. That is what we have to understand. Dhirubhai Ambani was a pure matriculate, but Wharton comes to India and give him the businessman of the millennium or something. He didn't have to go there to collect it. And thousands of engineers and MBAs and chartered accountants and doctorates are working. We need to understand this dimension, that overall amount of success comes out of right balance between all the three. Okay. Next, please. So when you are in OD and change management, you have to focus on all these three dimensions. So this is same thing represented in one slide. So nothing new in this. So I call it the success triangle or the competency triangle. And you can also call it the ASK principle. KSA was always known, so that is nothing new. It's just that representation and more practical application of the same principle of KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitude. The overall combination of the three makes it our competence. Next, please, Arvind. Next, we'll define the three, which is you can go through later. Wonderful. How much is, Rakesh is asking the question, how much is behavior driven? Please understand, behavior is nothing but a manifestation of our attitude. So it is basically attitude driven. Behavior is what you see, but behind that behavior is your attitude. What you are seeing is my behavior, but why am I behaving in this way? It is because of the attitude that I have. My attitude pushes me towards a particular kind of thing. Great question, but that is the simple answer to it. Oh, yes, hidden purposes. Very so you are moving ahead. Yes, that is why I said don't have blind faith on anybody. Great. Okay. Yes, unions will have their own agenda. Management will have their own agenda. There would be some gray areas there also. Some managements will bribe their union leaders also. Those are all realities on the ground. I'm not saying you do it, but as a sensible manager, one has to know everything. I mean, as a teacher, it's not my job, or as a senior, it's not my job to just tell you the goody-goody things of life. I have to give you the entire range. You make your choice, what you want to do, right? No MBA or no professionally qualified person should ever say, no, I never knew about it. You must know about it. What you do or you don't do is your choice. Okay, next please. Do we have time, Arvind? Please stop me whenever you want to. So this is just represented by this, and now we are gradually reaching OD and change management.
Sir, we have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, sorry?
So we have 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay, so we will finish this slide and then continue with it next time. So when you combine the knowledge and skills, it becomes your ability. Then you mix attitude and the situation given. Even if you have the most positive attitude, if the situation in front of you is terrible, you know. So you may not be able to achieve. So the motivation that is reflected could be a combination of attitude of the situation you are facing. Next, please. Now you combine ability and motivation. That gives the potential human performance. What are you capable of doing? And finally, the fourth equation. Next, please.
Can you explain attitude plus situation is equal to motivation?
I will. I wanted to show all the four equations and then come to it. I will go in reverse order after you have seen all four. So human performance into resources equal to. One more click, please. Yeah. So what is our end result that we are expecting? Why are we getting into OD and change management? You want to increase organizational productivity. So that is our end result. And in management, always remember two fundamentals. First, set the objective. Only then start work around them. This is unfortunate that in India, in the school and college education level, we never tell them, don't go around saying, "Maine MBA, I have done MBA, so you must give me a job." Now, I didn't tell you to do an MBA. You find out what my company needs, then come and prove to me that you can contribute to that. So end result is very, very important. And then work back and see what you have done and what you need to do. So one is, what is the end result you want? It is organizational productivity. Second, what are the resources you have to achieve that? And how do you use the resources in the best possible manner? So organizational productivity, what is it? The combination of the resources that are given to you. You have been given a wonderful machine and you have also got a wonderful operator. So organize and who has all the three: knowledge, skills, and attitude. You may have a wonderful car driver, but he doesn't want to drive. So it's an attitude issue. He has the knowledge, he has the skill, but he doesn't want to drive. And this is peculiar only of human resources. This willingness business is not there in any other resource. Money will never say, don't buy this with me. No, I am not feeling like buying this. I am not in a mood. Machines will never tell you I am not in a mood to work. It is only human resource. So therefore, when you are expecting organizational productivity, please check, have the resources been provided, and is the human performance happening? Then you will get organizational productivity. If it is not happening, as I said, we'll go in reverse order. Because first you will see the symptom. Symptom is like, for instance, when we get fever. Oh, thank you, Ketan. Thank you. So I am also learning in the process, Ketan. So it's a win-win for all. So organizational productivity is not happening. That is the problem. So you go one step back. Why is organizational productivity not happening? Has it got a human component, this human performance issue? Or is it a resource issue? I am an excellent driver. You have appointed me to drive your car as your chauffeur, but you have not given me a car to drive, no resource. What do I drive? So is it any point training me on car driving when you are not giving me a car to drive? You haven't given me a workstation to sit and work, but you are expecting output from me. So organizational productivity not happening, what is the reason? Is it a resource constraint or is it a human performance constraint? Decide that. Now, if it is a resource constraint, you can't do anything in the human resource area. No amount of development, skill development, knowledge development will help. Because गाड़ी नहीं होगी तो मैं चला नहीं. Simple. I will not be able to drive unless you provide me a car. So if it is a human performance, go back one step. Why is the human potential performance not happening? Is it an ability issue or is it a motivation issue? I just told you that I have the ability to drive a car, but I am not in a mood to drive. I call you and say, I have got fever, I can't come for duty today. What do you do with it? My ability has not suddenly got lost, but that day I am not motivated enough to do. So the potential performance which could have happened is not happening because of either ability issue or motivation, or maybe both. Then you have to go back. If you find it is an ability issue, Sumit Chaudhary does not have the knowledge or the skill, then you go back to equation 1. Is it knowledge, lack of knowledge which is stopping me, or is it lack of skill that is stopping me? Right in the beginning, I gave you that example. Why couldn't I go and represent India? I was also playing school cricket, so I also know cricket rules. Umpires know the rules much better than the players. Why can't they play? They have not been able to convert the knowledge into skill. So if you find there's an ability issue in me, then you have to go back to equation 1 to determine if it is a knowledge issue or a skill issue, and accordingly give me inputs on to increase my ability. If you find it is a motivation issue, and this was the question asked, if it is a motivation issue, I'm not feeling like doing it for whatever reason, then you go to equation 2 and find out. And here, let me give you an example. Let's say 2 people, both with equally positive attitudes. Okay. One person you give 500 rupees to start a business, and the other person you give 5 lakh rupees to start a business. If there is a lack of motivation in some exceptional people, even with a 500, they may set up a great business. Those are exceptional people. But in, thank you, Arvind. Yeah, Suketu's question, wonderful. Yes, these are equations. That is why I'm giving you the fundamentals before we, unless you develop the foundation, you can't build a huge building. Please understand. The foundations have to be absolutely clear. And then you base on that foundation. Yeah, please go ahead. There's a question coming, I thought. No? Okay. So I was explaining, was asked also. So I have given 2 people with equally positive attitude. One guy has been given 500 rupees. One guy has been given 5 lakh rupees. So if they are
Sumit, I think we have lost you.
Are we able to hear Sumit Chaudhary, sir?
I think
he has lost his power.
We've lost it. Wait for
Seems like, yeah. I'll just call him, and in case if he's able to re-log in, then we'll continue for another few minutes to close, or else we can continue next week. Is it okay with everyone here?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Arvind sir, thank you.
So let me connect to Sumit Chaudhary, sir, and I'll get back in a second.
He's back.
Yeah, sorry, the network fell off for some reason.
Yeah.
It has been troubling in our colony for the last few days. Okay. So quickly, let me sum up. In any case, I've exceeded the 5-minute limit given by Arvind. I'm not following boss's orders.
You are talking about right. Situation 2.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, if you find that 2 people who started with the same attitude, but one has lost motivation, it need not necessarily be because the person was not motivated to begin with, or not having the positive attitude to begin with, but the situation given really demotivated that person. So for a person to remain in motivated state, his or her attitude definitely matters, but the situation also matters. And it is again, go back to Virat Kohli and send him to play in a boxing team. His attitude might follow. He may not remain motivated at all. Not because he was not motivated, not having the positive attitude, but because he was put in a situation where he couldn't retain his motivation. That also we have to understand. So Woody will be based on all these fundamentals. You have to reach the root cause, as the Japanese keep on talking about. Just superficially, oh, bukhar aa raha hai, crocin le lo. That's not the real treatment. बुखार टाइफाइड्स की वजह से आ रहा है या जॉन्डिस की वजह से आ रहा है, वायरल फीवर है, मलेरिया है, व्हाट इज इट? You have to reach the root cause to be able to build a proper building. So that is the crux of the second equation. So
Sir,
this is how-
Sachin Tendulkar and Kohli, Kamble.
Sachin
Vinod
Tendulkar.
Kamble.
and Kohli, I did-
No, Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod
Sachin
Kamble.
Tendulkar. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vinod Kamble
Typical
and Sachin
example.
Tendulkar, Sunil Gavaskar and G.R. Vishwanath.
Yeah.
Same story.
Yeah.
G.R.
Yes, sir.
Vishwanath was much more talented than Sunil Gavaskar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Vinod Kamble was first 2 test matches, he had 2 double centuries. First
Yeah,
2
yeah.
test matches. But
Yeah.
where did he go after that?
Yeah.
And not to forget unfortunate Karun Nair, the only
Yeah.
other triple century maker that Virender Sehwag, unfortunately not getting a chance. So,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that happen which are
Yeah.
not about my attitude, but about the situation. There are too many players who are competing for very few positions, and we saw that in Australia. So the
Right,
first and the
right.
last test had, I think, 2 or 3 common players. Rest everybody had changed for whatever reason. Okay. So Arvind, I leave it to you unless there are questions. I think that I need to follow your instructions, but I have no problem at all continuing. So next time we meet, we can have whatever time is suitable for others.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. We can continue next week also, same time, Sunday, 7 p.m.
Yeah, I would suggest that
And-
you freeze the time and a day, because then I can keep that slot free. That will be the best model. Frequent
Right, right.
changes will not be a problem, because then you don't know when to schedule other assignments.
Sir,
If
that's
you
the
freeze it for Sunday 7 p.m., I will remain available for a few weeks. No issue.
perfect.
So,
Sir, we'll do 7 p.m. Sunday for all our sessions.
Yeah, and hopefully
And,
next time we will touch upon the roots of OD and change management with these
Arvind.
basics.
Arvind, Arun Mori here, Arvind.
Yeah, Arun,
Sir,
please.
thank you, sir, for a wonderful session. It was very nice. So one request, Arvind, 7 o'clock is a little, starting time is not an issue, Arvind, but by after 8 o'clock dinner time, and it can we either push it a little forward?
6:30?
Yeah, 6:30
6.
should be fine. 6 or
6
6:30
or
should be fine,
6:30,
sir.
just step out. Whatever
Yes,
is
sir.
convenient. I am tied up till about 5 on Sunday.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a B-School executive MBA class till 5. So
Okay,
post
sir.
5, maybe I'll take a break of half an hour. 5:36 is okay with me. No problem. That you settle
Arvind, could
around
you just check with other people as well, because as women we find it difficult because we have to take care of the kids and the family after 7:30 plus. Generally
Yeah, Arun,
kids start.
Arun, I understand.
yeah.
I talk to everyone and intimate to Sumit Chaudhary sir also, and we'll see if 6 is okay with everyone. We can continue with 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Yes,
from next.
yes, Arvind, please. Thanks for considering. Yeah.
Next time
Thank you.
the same issue. So thanks, Arun, for bringing it up. Yeah, my kids are going crazy as well in the background. So thank you for that.
Yeah, because I had
you have double, triple full-time jobs. I fully appreciate.
Yes,
All
sir.
the
Thank
very
you
best
so
for
much.
tomorrow. It is your day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank
Happy
you,
Women's Day in
sir.
advance to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, it was a
Thanks
nice
a lot
session.
for all the compliments I'm getting.
So, Sumit,
There was a question I'm willing to answer, Arvind. There was a
Thank you.
question
In
from
case-
someone, I couldn't read it on the chat. So if
In case,
Yeah.
in case if
you're
there are
welcome,
questions-
Rakesh.
Ketu.
Arvind, can just read the chat. Let the people leave if they have to. And there is one question, I think, pending. So if that can
Yes,
be
Sumit.
handled, I am happy with it.
so Sumit, hi, Suketu here.
Yeah.
Sorry, first I joined in late. I actually wanted to join on time, but I could not.
Thanks, Isha.
But now I think the time is fixed. I'll make sure that I join. I have a question on this slide. If you can just kind of give some idea on situation here. So when you say situation, what exactly would you mean? And my second question is, when you say resources, what you mentioned, like when you say resources, what all things come in resources?
Okay. So thank you for the question. The second part is easier to answer. Resources, as I said, you have appointed me as your chauffeur because I have driving knowledge and driving skills. Okay.
Right.
But you have not provided me with a car to drive. What do I drive?
Okay.
So can I fulfill your request to take you from place A to place B?
No.
So resources means, have you provided me the machine? Have you provided me the workstation? Have you provided me the laptop? I am competent. I have the knowledge. I have the skill. I have the attitude also to work. But you are not providing me the resources based on which I will do my work.
Okay. Got it.
Right? So other than me and my competence, I need some resources to work on. Na?
Right.
You can't tell me that you please paint without giving me the money for the paint or without buying me the paint. How do I paint?
Right.
I am a painter.
Right.
That is what is the meaning of resource. Okay. So human performance can happen as expected only when resources are provided.
Okay. Got it.
I hope that part is clear.
No, that is clear. I was just thinking from a problem solving thought process. Like usually when we do say kind of a root cause analysis. So basically, always we look at say if it is not a learning and development problem, right? Probably it might be something related to organizational barriers. Right, maybe the policy is not encouraging, or possibly the machine is very old, not the basic resources, but machine is there, but machine is old. So all of this is covered under resources. Is that what you say?
What you are saying is also a factor, definitely. Let us say you want me to be a key punch operator or computer operator, but you have tied my hands as per your policy.
Correct.
Then how do I show my work? So those policies can also be a constraint. There is no question.
Okay.
That is also a resource which you have not provided to.
Okay.
Other than the physical part of the resource.
Got it. So tangible, non-tangible, everything, which basically.
Absolutely. Whatever is outside of me, to put it simply, whatever is outside of me, I have come here with my competence. You have tested that. That is why you have given me the job. But whatever lies outside me is not in my control. You have to provide for that.
That's a situation. When you say situation here.
Yeah. Now we come to that. So this part is cleared.
Yes.
The resources part.
Sir,
Okay.
one thing to add on. Normally in HR parlance, when we say resources, does it not include men, material, missions? Time is also a resource in certain cases.
It is. So you say that you please type out this. I am a computer operator and you tell me to type out this, but I'll give you 2 minutes for 20 pages of typing.
Yeah.
So you are not providing me the resource, the time resource you are not providing. As I said, anything that is outside of me, I have come to you with my set of competence, my skill, my knowledge to begin with, then my skill and then my attitude. But anything beyond that is a resource without which I am unable to work.
Sumit, I have a question here,
But interesting that you are still here. I thought you have your full-time jobs too, 3-4 full-time jobs.
I've already taken care of it, sir. I made.
Fantastic! Your efficiency, your effectiveness is phenomenal. No,
halfway through the class. No, the thing is, it gives a lot of distraction. If it is between 6:30 to 7:30 or 6 to 7:30, my full concentration will be on the class. Now I have to put the phone elsewhere and start working here as well.
Perfect. I fully understand. I was just in a lighter way and trying to.
No issues.
That was my only purpose. I fully respect women have at least 3 times the working capacity of men. No question. So you have always have 2 to 3 full-time jobs to do.
ISTD has made us compatible with this one as well, because all our classes, especially Chennai batch, Sunday, whole day we have classes. So at
Oh.
least 2 meals have to be during class hours.
Ask me. I did my LLB, my diploma, labor law,
Okay.
this ISTD diploma, all while working. So I
Okay.
know this, but then I still say that, the ladies have much more to do than us. There's no question.
True, sir.
Sir,
Sir, can we end the session today?
Okay, so I come to the situation part. Situation, as I said, giving that example of two people start with the same attitude, but one person is in an environment where he gets more money to start with, as I gave that example, or two people with the same attitude, one is in India and one is in some other part, maybe a worse part, maybe in Pakistan, or maybe a better part, maybe in Canada or Japan. The attitude, initial attitude remaining the same. The situation in which you are put in,
okay.
that has an impact on your motivation over the long term. You started with the same attitude, but the situation
Okay.
either dampened it or it increased your attitude
So
and
this
your positive.
situation.
So situation can be altered, no?
So the situation is a
Can be altered.
Situation is, first of all, situation is outside of you.
Yes, it's
Attitude
an
is inside
uncontrollable
you.
variable, is it? That is what you are
It
referring
is.
to.
It is not in your control. Maybe somebody else's control.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
But having said that, if your attitude is massively positive, even in the worst of situation, you can probably do something better than most others could have done. You read stories every day. This Miss India girl, how she has managed to reach
Yeah,
that level.
great. Greatly.
That Manya Singh, I think. And there's a video, I'll try to locate that. I don't know how many of you remember Arunima Sinha.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Arunima Sinha, there is a 16-minute video in her own words. I knew about her always. I always quote her. In fact, this 8th of March, I have been a speaker at FICCI and other in previous years. So I always quoted her. But this video she is speaking on her own as to what all she faced in life. And this is what gives me that encouragement. Imagine your legs are amputated. If I had gone through that operation, my immediate reaction or long-term reaction would have been, oh, so long as I can walk and do my work, that's good enough. I am no good for anything. And this lady, within 2 years of that, climbed Mount Everest of all things. So what do you say? So there are exceptional people whose attitude, given a tough situation, there is a saying, when the situation is tough, the tough get good. So there are examples like that. But in general, when we talk of human behavior, we leave out the exception. We are talking of the usual people that we meet. Exceptional people will always be there. So I hope I've been able to explain the situation part.
Yeah, sir, very rightly.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arvind, I can see that. My apologies for extending. You were given just 5 minutes. It's 25 now.
Thank you a lot for your time. We'll again start with our session 14th of March, Sunday at 6 p.m. in case if everyone agrees.
Yes, sir, agreed.
Thanks to you, Arvind, for organizing this. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed the session thoroughly.
Really, sir, it was a very, very good session, awesome session. Most easy to understand, most palatable way. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sumit. Thank you so much.
Arvind,
See you next week.
Arvind, sir, special thanks to you for arranging such a nice session.
I am plain Sumit. Any addition of Sir Pair will attract 1 lakh penalty, right?
Oh.
I am plain Sumit, that's it.
Yeah.
No Sir Pair business.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Lot of gratitude, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Arvind, sir.